Star Radio's On the Money with Darlington Building Society.
Darlington Building Society, the heart of the local community.
Okay, so today we have Louise, who's the Business Development Manager for Teesside, and Tracy, who's the District Mortgage Advisor at the Darlington Building Society. Hello.
Hiya, you alright?
Yes, I'm good. So today, once again, we're talking about one of my favourite topics, which is mortgages. Obviously, the process, I think, from some of our listeners' perspective, can be quite a long process. Once I assume that the mortgage has been agreed, how long does it take to get through that process? Could you explain?
So if you're set to go, generally we would have received all the paperwork that we actually would need with regards to 3 months bank statements, 3 months pay slips, application would need to have actually been completed. Okay. Then it would be a case of we would be putting this application onto our system. Once it's on our system, we will have a valuation sort of set the next day with regards to we will contact the estate agents and they will have the valuation booked. The process then will depend upon when we receive the valuation back from the valuer, and obviously we're then in the hands of a solicitor. So the solicitor will have to go ahead and do all the searches and act on your behalf.
Okay.
So the process at that point from us putting it on will depend upon external bodies as opposed to internal.
Okay. So Tracy, talking specifically then about the process before that with regards to the calculations that go behind how much certain people can be lent, I assume that's your role, that's part of your job?
It is, yes.
So how does that work, Tracy?
Well, we actually at the Darlington individually underwrite our own mortgages. We don't credit score. So we look at everyone's, we'll look at the income that's coming in. We'll also look at all expenditure, particularly for first-time buyers. You might not know what your expenditure is going to be, so we'll go through council tax, potential buildings insurance. We might even touch on areas that I haven't thought about, such as protection for life cover, maybe income protection. So all the costs that they can possibly have, we would look at. With regards to the mortgage payment, we'll also look at stress testing it. So what we mean by that is we'll look at a much higher interest rate. So for instance, 7.05% is what we would look at. You're probably aware that interest rates are much lower than that, but we want to be happy that customers can still afford to pay the mortgage even if interest rates do rise. So all income, all expenditures took into account, and then we check and see what the position is once all that's taken into account. People then do have a clear idea, is this going to be affordable for me?
Okay. Now, that sounds quite a lengthy process to me.
Generally, the appointments are at least an hour, sometimes an hour, hour and a half. Depends how complicated. If first-time buyers, usually fairly straightforward, looking at around about an hour. If it's a little bit more complicated, self-employed, we'll at least look at 3 years accounts. Then it can be a bit longer, so for instance, around about an hour and a half. Okay,
and are you saying at the end of that hour and a half, whatever it is, that you're in a reasonably good position to say, look, yes, we can actually afford to lend you X?
We can give a decision in principle in most cases. There might be the odd case where there's something a little bit more unusual. There may be a credit issue in the background or something to that effect that's outside our normal lending policy. However, we can refer it to our credit manager, who's Phil Taylor, and he can get back to us usually within 24 hours with a decision.
Got a question you'd like to ask the experts? Ask online at starradio.co.uk.
Darlington Building Society, the heart of the local community.
Okay, so today we have Louise, who's the Business Development Manager for Teesside, and Tracy, who's the District Mortgage Advisor at the Darlington Building Society. Buying a house is never simple. Let's be honest, there's lots of hurdles and things. We've done that process that you've just gone through there, Tracy, and we've agreed in principle the sum that potentially I can be lent. But my house falls through for whatever reason. Does that particular offer stand for a certain amount of time? Do we have to go through the process again? What's the story there?
No, is the answer. You don't have to go through that story again. So depending on, say for instance, it's literally within a couple of weeks, or if it's for instance a month, we may just say to you we might need up-to-date bank statements for a month, but you wouldn't need to go back through the process with regards to what Tracy's just explained. It would stand because ideally we've gone through all that information with you and we're at a point where we were saying and we were happy with giving you said funds.
Okay.
I've had a recent case in connection with that where the gentleman works away a lot of the time and his sale fell through, and I literally just had to get an up-to-date pay slip, up-to-date month's statements.
Yes.
And then we were just, obviously we needed this new property information as well. Did lose his valuation on the initial property, so you may have some costs involved with maybe another valuation fee, but it was pretty straightforward, and he's about to move in now actually, so all in all, even though he's on his second property, it's taken about 4 months.
Sure. Okay. Now, a bit more of a technical question before we get into some of these special fairs and these special days that you've got, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But a specific question with regards to the type of mortgage that you can get. I'm guessing here that there are a myriad of different products out there, you know, whether it be fixed rate, variable rate, whether it's fixed term, not fixed term, whatever. I assume you have a multitude of different products.
Yeah.
Do you independently advise what is the best product fit for the people that
Yeah.
you're talking to as well?
What happens is when you actually come in for an interview, it's all based around your needs and circumstances, and then the advisor will listen to those needs and circumstances and will advise you on the best available product for your needs. So, for instance, it may be that people need stability, and we will question that with regards to what they mean about stability, because it may not mean that you need stability so you need a fixed rate. So it's a case of us identifying the need for that customer and making our recommendations accordingly.
So let's talk about the fairs, if we may, yeah, or the special days that you've got coming up. I mean, the mortgage area, the mortgage arena is quite a confusing one for many of our listeners, I'm sure. But I guess, or I understand that you've got some good, unique days that you get booked out effectively for, where you can get people along to explain a little bit more about how the mortgage process works. Is that right?
Yeah, we're looking at doing mortgage days through a number of our branch network. I'll just read off sort of what days they are. So we've got Cockerton branch, which is on Friday the 3rd of June, which is going to be all day. We've got North Allerton, which is on Wednesday the 8th of June, again that's 9 till 5. We've got Yarm, which is on Wednesday the 8th of June, which will be 9 till 5. Middlesbrough, which is on Friday the 10th of June, 9 till 5. Gisborough, which is Saturday the 11th of June, which will be 9 till 12. And Tubwell Row, which will be on Saturday the 11th of June, also 9 till 12. Those days, what we're sort of looking at doing is you can come along and have a mortgage appointment. That's not a problem. The also other side of it for us is we're looking at doing health checks for people. So doing an assessment with regards to, are you ready for the mortgage? Can we support you? Is there any pressing issues? Do you need our advice? We have a lot of people that are worried about maybe things on their credit report. They may need support on how to get back on track, which we'll give that support through, because at the Darlington Building Society we aim to help and get people onto the property ladder, and that's what we strive to do.
That's great. And so all of that information is obviously at the website, and there's some more days to be added as well. Could you just give the website address?
Yep, the website address is darlington.co.uk.
Louise, Tracy, thank you very much.
Thank you.
On the Money with Darlington Building Society, celebrating 160 years.